Good day. This is E.T. here, backed up by a bit of Pink Floyd. What is the lie about climate change? No doubt the climate may be changing, and it is changing. The Earth shifting on its axis. There's so much pressure from the Antarctic into the Earth's crust that it's affecting the magnetic centre core of the Earth. And that's part of the reason it's recently, or last year, it tilted. Many of us noticed that it tilted, and it's all over the internet, the Earth tilted. And it's altered the way the sun is reacting with the Earth. But that's, forget the climate change. What is the lie about climate change? The lie is that somehow we in Australia can stop using coal whilst we sell lots and lots of coal to China and India and other places and Japan. So they use more and more coal. They won't use more coal. They get more kilowatts per kilo of coal because of the refined baking or cooking process in the furnaces. So they can get more energy from coal with less coal, but they will still be using coal to a greater degree than they are at the present. Yet in Australia, and before in America, before Mr. Trump was elected, they said, Hillary Clinton said, all you coal miners will be sacked, you'll be gone, we don't want you anymore, you're finished. Because she works for big finance who are trying to create massive debt in the Western world, in the Anglosphere, to finance what is said to be the developed world, like China and India. Well, China and India, relative to Australia, are far more developed and have been around for a very, very long time. They're arrogantly proud races of people. They don't need assistance from Westerners to make their countries great. Their countries already are great. Yet this is the sort of mentality in the left, in the West, as we must feel sorry for everyone in the world, so we must sacrifice our wealth to make everyone else and distribute the wealth through increasing the finance or the currency available into the world system, through we getting into great big debt for things we don't need, like wind generators. We're told by our politicians that we have to have wind generators, we can't have coal. Yet, if they stop selling coal to China, this country will be absolutely broke within months because of the royalties it will lose. And you could not afford any of the social policies they rely on to sell themselves to the public. It's the greatest lie we have ever witnessed by our own politicians, corporate politicians, against their own people, on behalf of other people in other countries. It's when Hillary Clinton was basically spooking for illegal immigrants and Muslims, and not for ordinary working Americans who needed the jobs in coal mines. She was putting foreigners who don't live, have nothing against Mexicans or Muslims, who cares? But the fact is, she put foreign nationals who are not even legally in America, or not in America yet, before ordinary working men and women. And that was, you can't get any more ridiculous and anti-democratic than a politician working against the democratic benefits of the people for other countries that may not even be democracies. But that's what they're doing, to distribute the wealth from the West to what's called developing countries. Now, there's nothing wrong with helping developing countries, but it should not be at the sacrifice of your own people by politicians. The fact is, China will continue increasing its use of coal for till 2030 exponentially, and by then we'll have 50 times more CO2 emissions than Australia has, or will have then, or has now. So Australia's politicians are saying we can't use coal. Why? Has someone got a knife against their throat? Gun against their head? What's going on here? That we can't have coal and have coal-fired furnaces, cheapest, most reliable energy there is, in new furnaces which pollute very little. But we can have something that we don't need and costs a great deal in debt, and that's wind generators. And that's what the lie is. But the climate's changing, climate's always changing. But that's what the big lie is. We're supposed to have no coal, not use any coal, and everyone's going to continue building more coal-fired power stations for the next 13 years. And then they will have enough coal-fired power then to last them till, well, 2050 or more. They're not going to wear out in a day. These things last for 20 or 30 years. So they're going to continue pouring emissions into the sky for next, till now, next 40 years, 30 years or 33 years. Well, we are supposed to have no emissions. And it's time this ended, or was exposed for what it is, and all I can do is explain it as simply as this. These are the facts. If we're going to do something about climate change in Australia, let us drought-proof the place and do something about the climate here. Anyway, this is ET. Thank you. Explain the great lie about climates.